Welcome back to Love the Flub, or how to get through the stage of being quote unquote bad at marketing so you can rock your next campaign. In this training, I'm going to reveal the thought process behind an effective experience marketing campaign using our Give Them What They Want campaign as an example. So if you didn't get the response that you were hoping for with your first survey campaign, don't worry. There's a valuable lesson to be learned in what didn't work, and this gives you the feedback that you need to iterate your way to awesome and try again. And if you did get a good response, you'll learn how to follow up effectively with survey participants and invite them into the next step with you. Let me start with a key mindset shift. If you struggled with your survey, one of the reasons could be the way you approached it. If you were looking at your survey as either a homework assignment that you had to complete or a marketing tactic to build your list, chances are that you were thinking about your survey from your point of view. You were thinking, I need 100 people to take this survey. So you may have done something like what two-time EPMer Andrea Havernan did, who struggled to get a big response to her survey. Here's the note that Andrea wrote and posted on over a dozen Facebook and LinkedIn groups. As I read this to you, pay attention to how you feel when you hear this. If you didn't know Andrea, if you had no relationship with her, would you take 3 minutes of your time to help her out based on this note? Local business owners, I need your help. Do you have 3 minutes? I'm trying to figure out how to best help business owners who need a boost above their competition and want to quit wasting time on the wrong customers. I'm taking a class to create a new program, and I want to make it the most effective, most helpful, and most awesome for local businesses, so I'm asking for your input. My goal is to get responses from at least 100 people, so would you help? The survey takes less than 3 minutes to complete. It's anonymous, and I'll share the results if you want them. Thanks a bunch for your time. Please share with other business owners. How did you feel when you heard Andrea's note? Would you have taken the time to respond to her survey? Probably not, right? That's why Andrea only got 30 people to respond to her survey, even though she posted it on over a dozen groups. So let's deconstruct what's not working here, and I want to take a moment to thank Andrea for volunteering herself as an example. I know it's not always easy to have your work deconstructed like this, and it's a valuable lesson to all of us about what works and what doesn't. The very first thing Andrea says is, local business owners, I need your help. She's making an ask, but she doesn't necessarily have a relationship to the people that she's asking for help from. In a situation like this, it's helpful to build connection and rapport before asking for help, and I'll show you an example of this in just a moment. Next, Andrea says, I'm trying to figure out how to best help business owners who need a boost above their competition and want to quit wasting time on the wrong customers. I'm taking a class to create a new program, and I want to make it the most effective, most helpful, and most awesome for local businesses. So I'm asking for your input. First of all, it's not instantly clear what this survey is about, since Andrea mentions both competitive advantage and wasting time on the wrong customers. There's a mixed message rather than a clear focus. Second, Andrea's note suggests that she's doing market research and has a commercial intent for the survey. That immediately puts people off who don't want to participate in market research for a product that they haven't already expressed interest in or invested in. Now, the next paragraph is helpful in that it's specific about the goal and the ask, but it also doesn't paint the benefits of why someone would want the results. In fact, it almost dismisses the value of the results. My goal is to get responses from at least 100 people, so would you help? The survey takes less than 3 minutes to complete. It's anonymous, and I'll share the results if you want them. I know that some of you struggled with getting responses to your survey, and the reason why you may have struggled is that you thought of your survey as a marketing tactic. You were probably thinking about it from your point of view, of I want 100 people to take this survey, rather than thinking about it from the point of view of your prospective customer. How can I inspire 100 people to take this survey by making it valuable to them? This is the second fundamental shift that's necessary in marketing. It's the shift from trying to prove yourself and get people to buy or do what you want them to, which is all about you, to understanding your clients, providing value, and being of service, which is all about them. Going back to Andrea's note, she ends with a second ask. Thanks a bunch for your time. Please share with other business owners. While those of you who know Andrea understand that she's a savvy businesswoman and has the best intentions in her business, you wouldn't get that from reading her note, and you probably wouldn't be super inclined to help her. Now let's look at the survey itself. I'm going to walk you through her survey so you can see what's working and what's not, and what would make her survey even more effective and inviting for her respondent. Remember that this may be the first experience that someone is having with you, and if you create a great experience here, they'll be more likely to want to know more about you. As you can see, Andrea's survey is called Small Business Owner Survey, which isn't a very specific topic, so from the start, I don't have a clear sense of what I'm getting into. Then the first question, are you a business owner, is equally vague. So after reading the entire page, I'm still not clear what the survey is about. There's also conflicting information since Andrea's Facebook note talks about local businesses, then the questionnaire talks about small businesses, then the first question simply asks about businesses. I clicked yes to see what came next and found a page of 4 demographic questions, which were clearly targeted at market research. It's okay to ask demographic questions in your survey, but after the first 5 questions, I still feel like I hadn't been asked anything meaningful yet. One of the great things about surveys, as you'll soon see, is that they give you the opportunity to ask meaningful questions that make your prospects think about your topic in a whole new way. And that can help you pave the way to getting into a buying conversation. While basic demographic questions can help you interpret your results, they don't do much for your respondent. They don't create the attitudes, beliefs, and conditions someone needs to make a change in their life that they want, but can't attain on their own. Then at the bottom of this page, there's a question about what type of business I have, which gives me the choice between trades, brick and mortar, and professional services. I chose other. Then on page 3, I'm told that the survey is worded for trade types of businesses. That makes it seem like the survey isn't relevant to me, and I find myself wondering why the trade focus wasn't shared up front because I spent time to fill out the survey. Not a great experience so far. Then, to make matters worse, instead of simply giving me the choice between a yes or no in response to the question, would you like to continue, the survey asked me whether I would like to quit or whether I can handle answering questions about trades types of businesses. That feels a bit insulting, considering that I spent time on the survey when it wasn't appropriate to me. And the choice between being a quitter or admitting that I can't handle answering simple questions doesn't feel good. I hope you can see that the way you word your questions and answers can radically affect the experience that your survey respondent has. So even though I wanted to quit at that point, I continued with the survey for the sake of this training. Now the next section is a long page about marketing. At this point, we're on page 4 of 6, and I find myself wondering how long the survey is, considering there are 4 questions on this page, and there were 4 questions on the previous page, and I still have 2 pages to go. So if I hadn't left yet, I definitely would have bounced at this point, but let's keep going for the sake of learning. This section ends with the question: if you could have training on any of the topics you chose above, would you pay for it? That's a bit puzzling to me, since between the second and third sections on this page, there were a dozen different topics that Andrea asked about. You may have already realized that it can be tricky to get impartial feedback on whether someone would pay for a specific training. And it's even trickier when there is such a broad range of topics being asked about. If you're using a broad survey like this one as a way to find the most pressing need in a larger topic, I would recommend leaving out a question asking about whether or not your survey respondent would pay for something. This kind of question works better for more specific surveys, though I would recommend a variation of that question that focuses less on paying money and more on identifying the level of need and interest in your topic. Let me give you a few examples that would work in a more specific survey. How important is it to your business success to blank? For example, stand out from your competition. Then offer something called a Likert scale, or a 5-part answer that gauges how much someone agrees or disagrees with your question. Very important, important, don't know, unimportant, completely unimportant. Or you could ask a question such as, would it be valuable to you to receive training about how to make your business stand out from your competition? And again, instead of simply doing a yes-no question, you can get a more precise measure by using a Likert scale. Very valuable, valuable, don't know, not valuable, completely not valuable. Or if you want to ask the money question, you could ask something more benefit-driven. If you could quickly and easily discover how to make your business stand out from your competitors, is that something you would pay to learn? And offer another Likert scale. Definitely, maybe, don't know, no, and definitely not. Since Andrea's question was so broad, I put a no and moved on to page 5. Here I find a section on learning style, and I'm still confused about the purpose of the survey. I've given a lot of information about myself, but I haven't learned much in the process. So when I get to the last page with the option to leave an email address, I'm not inclined to give my email address because I haven't had a meaningful experience. So that's an example of a survey that didn't perform super well. Andrea missed the opportunity to provide an experience that gave her respondents value and a positive introduction to her. The focus of the survey was unclear, and the questions didn't seem particularly meaningful from a customer point of view. Don't worry if you made similar mistakes as Andrea in your survey. At our mentorship events, we like to normalize challenges, and often before you can love your message, you have to flub your message. So we affectionately name the students who flub their message on their first share flubbers, and give them an opportunity for a do-over later on in the event. So let's put Andrea in the flubber camp for a moment, and remember it's completely normal to flub before you love. Remember the story of the young Thomas Edison, whose first invention was an utter flop. Then he continued to flub his way to becoming one of the most important and prolific inventors of all time. I didn't fail, I just found 2,000 ways how not to make a light bulb. I only needed to find one way to make it work. When it comes to marketing, it's important to put on your mad scientist cap and treat everything like a test, an experiment to see what works and what doesn't. And if something doesn't work, try something else. Beating yourself up or judging yourself doesn't support your learning and growth. Flubbing is a natural part of gaining competency in something, so learn to love the flub. So if I were to do over Andrea's survey, here's what I would do. I would rename her survey to something more specific and customer-centric, such as discover the 3 biggest challenges facing trade businesses in today's online market. Then I would write a more compelling and personal note that spoke specifically to that audience in their language. As a graphic designer, I've always loved trade businesses such as contractors, plumbers, and electricians. You know, the kind of businesses that still create something real. The kind of businesses that have been around for generations, and the people who still earn an honest living with their hands. In an online world where more and more businesses deal with information, I believe that trade businesses are more important now than ever before. Unfortunately, they're finding it increasingly hard to compete on the internet. If you're a trade business, I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to better understand your top challenges and support you in getting the information that you need to thrive online, so your business will continue to stand the test of time. Take 3 minutes now to fill out this anonymous survey, and if you choose to leave your email address, I'm going to send you some free training around the top 3 challenges that we uncover through this survey, to thank you for bringing these essential services to the world. What do you think? If you were a trade business, would you be more or less inclined to take this survey based on this note than the previous? More inclined, right? If I've done my job well, you feel seen, heard, and validated. And in addition to filling out your survey, you're going to be more receptive to anything else I send in the future because I've taken the time to share a little bit about myself here and build relationship first. It's important to take the time to connect with your tribe before asking them to do anything. There's a spectrum between connection and production. What I found is that when you're in production mode, meaning that you want a specific result, it's easy to bypass connection in an attempt to get right to the point and get what you want. And when you're in connection mode, it can be easy to spend all your time connecting and lose track of the result. So in your marketing, it's important to balance connection with production. Now let's talk about Andrea's actual survey. I would probably start the survey with a question such as, what kind of trade business are you in? Then give a series of choices, including the option to write in their specific kind of trade business. The second question could be something along the lines of either what's your position in this business, with choices such as owner, technician, etc., or how long have you been in business? Those 2 questions are probably all the demographic info that Andrea needs to interpret the results. From there, I would go into a meatier question related to their 3 biggest challenges, such as what are the 3 biggest challenges facing your business today? Then include a list of options. Then perhaps ask a question related to urgency, such as how important is it to your success to overcome these challenges? Then include a Likert scale, very important, important, don't know, unimportant, completely unimportant. Then something along the lines of this. If I could support you in overcoming your top 3 challenges, how do you prefer to receive support? One-on-one, in person with a small group of other trade business owners, by yourself reading information, with a community of peers in an online training program. Then I would end the survey with something like this. To thank you for your service, I'd like to provide you with some free training around the top 3 challenges that we uncover through this survey. Please leave your name and email address below if you'd like access to this free training. If you'd prefer to stay anonymous, simply hit finish. Thank you for your time, and most of all, thank you for the work you do. Then on the confirmation page, if they left their email address, I would say something along the lines of this. Congratulations for taking the time to identify the 3 biggest challenges that you're facing in your trade business. I hope this awareness supports you in moving forward in your business. I'm closing this survey on X date and will follow up by Y date with some free trainings on the 3 biggest challenges that we uncover through all the survey responses. In the meantime, I'm going to email you a couple valuable resources to support you right now. To your success, Andrea. And for people who didn't leave their email address, I would include a different confirmation page note, such as, congratulations for taking the time to identify the 3 biggest challenges that you're facing in your trade business. I hope this awareness supports you in moving forward in your business. To your success, Andrea. P.S. I'm closing the survey on X date. If you'd like to receive some free trainings on the 3 biggest challenges that we uncover through this survey, please leave your name and email address below. This gives them a second opportunity to submit their name and email address. By sending out some other helpful resources right away for people who left their contact info, Andrea is continuing to build her relationship with the people who just took the survey. Even if she sends them to relevant articles on someone else's blog, she's being helpful and supportive in creating rapport with her audience. Remember when I said that it takes the average person 15 to 30 touches before they buy? Well, let's look at Andrea's Give Them What They Want campaign from the perspective of these touches. Andrea got her first touch in the note inviting people to take her survey. She got the second touch in the survey itself, the third touch in the email resources she sent immediately after someone filled out the survey and left their contact info. Now she could create a simple 1-page PDF or blog article for each of the top 3 challenges that she uncovers in the survey and send out 1 PDF or article per challenge. This doesn't have to be anything fancy. It could be a simple 500-word article, and if you don't have a website, then you can send a short 1-page PDF. Work with your resources to make this as easy as possible for you. If she sends each resource out in a separate email, that gets us to 6 touches. Now in the 7th email, she could say that she's gotten a lot of great feedback about the articles that she sent, and that several people have written to her asking her for more support. So she's decided to put together a training program focused specifically on helping you overcome these 3 challenges in your trade business. Then if she's gotten any specific feedback, she can incorporate that into the email and share a quote from a survey respondent to make this more real. I would end the email with some kind of specific ask, time frame, and urgency, whether that's to jump on the phone for a start with an experience call, which you'll learn about later in this module, or send someone to a website ATM page, which you'll also find out about later. When it comes to urgency, perhaps you can say something like this. I'm only taking 10 people in this program, and registration closes on X date, which is usually 2 to 6 days later, so click here to find out more and sign up now. I look forward to supporting you in solving X problem so you can get Y result. Then Andrea would continue to send a series of emails every day throughout the duration of the campaign, leading to the cart close day when it's customary to send 2 to 5 emails. Yes, you heard me right. It's customary to send 2 to 5 emails on the final day of your marketing campaign. That gets her close to 20 touches and puts her more squarely in the sales zone. We're going to go in depth into how to craft the perfect email campaign later on in this module. For now, I simply want you to see and understand that there are 3 main parts to any marketing campaign. The first part of a marketing campaign is attraction, or what happens before the sale to begin the relationship with your prospective clients by providing value. A survey is one way that you can attract new prospects into your world and provide value in the way I just showed you through Andrea's do-over example. You also learn the Chatterbox campaign, and you'll be learning 4 additional ways to attract your audience during this module. The second part of a marketing campaign is conversion, or how you get someone to go from being a prospect to a buyer, for example, through an email follow-up campaign, which you'll learn about soon. Then the third part of a marketing campaign is engagement, or what happens once someone buys and how you engage them in your product to set them up to win from day one and build unstoppable momentum to get them from mission to mission accomplished. We cover that in crafting the perfect experience, and we'll go even more deeply into the customer experience and deliver the wow. This is how you complete the cycle and inspire your customers to buy from you over and over again and spread the word about you too. So to repeat, the 3 elements of any marketing campaign are attraction, conversion, and engagement. In the Experience Marketing Essentials module, we'll be focused on attraction and conversion. Then in our final module, we'll cover engagement. To summarize, you can use a Give Them What They Want campaign for 2 things. You can create a broad survey designed to help you get more clarity on what product to create, which I encourage you to do in Module 1. Or you can create a more specific survey to help you tune into a specific marketing language and help you pave the way for the sale. If you do this second kind of campaign, it's important to make sure the topic of your survey relates specifically to the mission behind your experience product. I also recommend taking the time to write a compelling personal note inviting people to take your survey. Focus on putting yourself in your audience's shoes and building connection and relationship with them, especially if you're posting your survey on groups that don't already know you well. Then think through what questions you want to ask that will get your audience engaged with your topic and give you the information that you need to provide them with valuable content that matches their needs. Then once you've attracted them into your world and inspired them to give you their email address, think through 5 to 30 touch points that you can create to provide value and deepen your relationship before pivoting to a sale. Whether you begin an email campaign that directs someone to a sales page where they can find out about your product and register, or you invite them onto a phone call with you. If you already rocked your Give Them What They Want campaign and gathered some new email addresses, start thinking about how you can send valuable resources to your survey respondents. We'll be going into this more in depth during this module. Now, if you're like Andrea and you flubbed your first Give Them What They Want campaign, don't worry. This is an opportunity to either try again and start building an email list that's interested in your experience product topic, or simply say, this campaign isn't for me, and move on to learning our other 4 campaigns in this module. You don't need to do every campaign. We recommend that you choose the 3 campaigns that make the most sense for you. Remember, when it comes to marketing, you can still get a lot wrong and still sell if you've got a good product with a strong message. Before we end this video, let me give you a bird's eye view glimpse of the entire Give Them What They Want campaign when you use this for the second purpose, to pave the way for the sale. This campaign starts with posting a brief yet compelling personal note with a link to your survey on relevant Facebook and LinkedIn groups. If you have your own groups or pages, I recommend posting there as well. You can also send this note out on social media via private message, or email it out to any contacts that you already have, or contacts that you have access to through a partner, group, or association. Make sure to align your survey with the topic of your experience product and give participants a compelling reason to leave their name and email address at the end. Send out an email with valuable resources right away to new participants to keep building your relationship with them. If you don't have anything of your own, you can point them to someone else's blog. It doesn't matter as long as you're building this relationship from day one. Then, once you close the survey, send out the group results. In addition to sending the results themselves, you may want to consider writing a brief summary or report of the findings, or providing simple trainings around the themes that were identified in your survey. If you don't already have a relationship with the people who filled out your survey, I recommend sending 2 to 3 value emails nurturing this relationship before pivoting to the sale of your experience product, whether you invite someone to a free private session or you send them to a sales page where they can find out more about your product. Don't worry if you flubbed the Give Them What They Want campaign the first time around. Remember, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone. Learn to love your flubs. It's all valuable practice as you improve your marketing skills and get better at moving your tribe to action. You may have heard that there are 4 stages of developing competence in business and in life: unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, and unconscious competence. The first stage is unconscious incompetence, and that's the most dangerous stage to be in, because in this stage, not only does someone not realize that they lack a skill, sometimes they actively deny the usefulness of the skill. So if you're in the stage of unconscious incompetence and you feel stuck around your experience product strategy or marketing, you may deny the need to take action. You may create reasons to wait or slow down that sound incredibly logical because you don't realize how much you'll learn simply from letting this fly no matter what happens. So the path to developing competence begins with recognizing your incompetence in a particular area and acknowledging the value of the new skill. Unless you have a desire to learn something, you can't learn it. That's why we're spending so much time during this program, and in this module in particular, not just working on your experience product strategy and marketing, but developing the skills you'll need to successfully design and market any product you want in the future. So the next stage is what's called conscious incompetence. I imagine some of you here may be at this stage in certain areas, like marketing and sales. If you feel consciously incompetent in the area of marketing or sales, I get it. These skills can be challenging to learn, and I used to feel frozen when I had to write an email or website copy. At the stage of conscious incompetence, you recognize the value of the skill that you want to learn, as well as where you are in relation to that skill. In other words, you see the gap between where you are and where you want to go. Can you see that gap? Great, because that means that you have the awareness that you need to move forward and the desire to move forward. And the path to moving forward, and this is crucial, is taking action and making mistakes. The only way out is through. Fail often and fail fast. Learn to love the flub and iterate your way to awesome. When you get into consistent action around the areas that you feel incompetent in, you'll move on to the next stage of conscious competence. In this stage, you understand what to do and how to do it, but it requires a bit of concentration to get right. It's a challenge to take action, it's a challenge to implement things, and it's a challenge to get the results that you want. You're still out of your comfort zone. Who feels like they're out of their comfort zone? Wonderful. I believe in spending as much of my life out of my comfort zone as possible. And this willingness to be uncomfortable has allowed us to grow really, really fast and make a huge impact. So the only way to move through this discomfort is, guess what? That's right, consistent action. Your willingness to continue, to accept where you are, to keep going, to have faith that it can and will get easier with more practice and more action. Now, our fourth stage is unconscious competence. This is where you have so much practice with a particular skill that it almost becomes second nature. It becomes easy. You experience flow. This is my sixth product, and now product creation and marketing feels easy for me. I love it. I can think of fewer joys greater than being able to design, market, and deliver this product to you. Because I've moved through these 4 stages of product creation, things are now a lot easier for me. I came up with the idea for the Experience Product Masterclass less than a month before I started teaching it. I didn't have any of the product created when I first sold it. We started creating the marketing materials just 2 weeks before we began our marketing campaign, and we were able to inspire 360 new customers to invest, in addition to gifting this to our existing mentorship students the very first year that we created this. What's way more important to us than the money is that our first time out, we were able to inspire these people into huge life-changing action, to take ideas they may have had for years and turn them into products, or to find ideas that they didn't even know that they had yet. Is this the perfect program? Absolutely not. Is it damn good? It absolutely is. Would it have been even better if I pushed the launch back another couple months and waited? Probably not. More time does not always mean better quality. I personally do great work on a deadline. When I'm accountable to you and know that I have to show up and teach no matter what, guess what happens? I do. So it's through going through this product design, marketing, and delivery process over and over again, through pushing the edges of my comfort zone time after time, that I'm able to teach these skills to you. That's why I've been able to guide you through the very challenging stage of conscious incompetence, guide you through the discomfort, and hold you accountable to taking action even when it felt challenging and overwhelming. It's going to take time and practice before this starts to feel comfortable to you or even natural, like it took me years of practice. But you can choose whether you look at those feelings of frustration, overwhelm, and challenge as stressful and hard, or as an exciting opportunity for growth. Personally, I choose to associate those feelings with excitement and growth. So every time I feel frustrated, overwhelmed, or challenged, I say to myself, ooh, I'm on the brink of a breakthrough. Regardless of how you feel now, the absolute most important thing is to stay in the game. Keep playing no matter what. Keep moving forward no matter what. Whether you launch during this program or wait a little longer, don't let your fears and doubts and worries get the best of you. Why? Resistance actually means that you're on the right track. The more important something means to you, or the bigger the change that you're trying to make, the more fear and resistance comes up to say, oh, hell no, you're not doing this. And that's the part of us that's trying to keep us safe, the part that's designed for survival, the part that asks, what if I fail? Or worse yet, what if I succeed? But playing safe often means playing small. Safe often means giving your power away, like I did for so many years, until the day that I refused to give up my power anymore. And all of a sudden, my yes became louder than my no, and I had to take action. Remember, action is the only thing that brings clarity, confidence, and competence. So before you take action, it can and will seem challenging or even impossible. Before you start your marketing campaign, it may feel unsurmountable to you. You may think there's no way I can do this. There's no way I have the skills, no way I have the list, no way I have the time. But what if you were to change that story right now? What if you were to say, I'm as ready as I'll ever be. I have just the time I need to make this happen. And I'm committed to reaching my goal of mission accomplished. So how can I do this with the amount of time and resources that I have? The hardest step that you'll ever take is that first step. Like Indiana Jones took his first step over the chasm towards the Holy Grail. The hardest action you'll ever take is that first action. Like a baby who takes its first step, falls and takes another step. Or a 13-year-old boy who asks a girl out for the first time. The girl he's been crushing on. Or the time you decide to pull the trigger on your product and marketing campaign. So when this video ends, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to decide whether you want to follow the steps and examples laid out in this video for a do-over, design some simple follow-up materials to send to your survey respondents to deepen your relationship leading up to the sale of your product, or move on to the next campaign. In the next training, you'll learn all about your website ATM pages, the only 4 pages that you need to sell anything. Now go out there and live your message.